Hello, I'm Ryan McEachran, and welcome to episode 30 of The Dig. On this week's show, we have a very special guest, Lisa McDonald, Executive Director of PDAC, will be joining us. PDAC is a go this year. It's virtual, and it's still one of the most important must-attend mining events globally. What can we expect this year at PDAC? We'll find out from Lisa McDonald. Stephanie Alvarez has an update on everything MSTA Canada, including our plans for PDAC. Katherine Li from FIRMA Foreign Exchange will join us to discuss some important economic news reported by the big banks. And of course, our hot off the press 6 and 60, where we break down the 6 biggest mining stories in 60 seconds. So let's get to it. MSTA Canada also has big plans for PDAC this year. Here's our very own Stephanie Alvarez to explain what you can expect from us, including our popular B2b networking platform. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Ryan. We are all aware that PDAC 2021 is just around the corner, and here is just one of the programs that MSTA Canada will be running. In collaboration with Global Affairs Canada, MSTA Canada will host the B2b Networking Platform, which will be the best way to get new business opportunities during PDAC 2021. This event will allow you to set up online B2B meetings with international delegations and the Trade Commissioner service from over 40 countries. The B2b Networking Platform will run during PDAC on March 8, 9, and 10, and you must register to be part of the event. In case you haven't done it yet, I will be sending emails with the registration link and the steps on how to follow in the next weeks. We will be announcing more PDAC events as they come available, so stay tuned. We are accepting new members. If you or someone that you know is interested in joining MSTA Canada, you can contact me directly at membership@mstacanada.ca. That's it for now, Ryan. Back to you.
Thanks, Steph. With March on the horizon, that usually means one thing for many of us in the mining and exploration industry. It's time for PDAC, one of the world's largest and most important mining events of the year. And like many events, it is going virtual in 2021. We are very privileged to have PDAC's Executive Director, Lisa McDonald, to talk to us about this year's convention. So let's dig in now. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to The Dig.
Hi, Ryan. I'm pleased to be here.
Excellent. So, we're coming into PDAC 2021. It's a virtual event this year. I know typically you have a much longer planning cycle in developing these programs, but with this one, when did you start planning it?
Well, yep, you're correct, Ryan. We are fully virtual for this year. And so we started to, soon after the convention ended in 2020, started to look at what our options might be for 2021. Obviously, the world was changing very quickly, and this is an event that typically we have about an 18-month planning cycle coming into a live event. So we knew then that if we were going to have to pivot to something, to an alternative for 2021, that we really had to start looking at what some of those alternatives were pretty much out of the gate after we finished the 2020 convention. So we started to do our research at that point about what the various options were, obviously virtual, or, potentially at that time we thought perhaps some sort of a hybrid model might be something that we could look at for 2021. And then we continued that research process through the summer, and through lots of consultation with our board of directors and looking at what the options that, the right option for PDAC would be. The board made the decision in late August that the clear path ahead for us at that point was to move to fully virtual. And then, of course, we made the announcement of that in September. So, the planning for this had started quite a bit in advance of the announcement, but that was really critical for us because there's so many options out there in terms of virtual platform technology, and it takes time to sort of weed through those options and figure out what the best option would be for us and for this very unique and complicated event.
Well, and this is one of the world's largest events, so that must have been one of the largest challenges for you, is to find a platform that's appropriate for it.
Absolutely, and there are many offerings of platforms out there, and as I'm sure you can imagine, with the state of the world right now, that's an area where technology is continually developing almost daily sometimes. So it was really a lot to look through and a lot to work through. Our team, our exhibit team, actually demoed over 60 different platforms as part of their process for landing where we did. And that certainly was a challenging. It's challenging to look at all of your different options, and every different event is unique as well. And as you know, and anyone who's into PDAC knows, it is a pretty unique event with a lot of different components, and we needed to be to make sure that we could find something that would best achieve all of those objectives in a virtual world.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about what are some of the events that you're or programming elements, if you will, that you'll be doing at PDAC 2021.
Sure. So, I mean, we obviously recognize that, and this is a conversation that many folks have had over the last few months, that it's very difficult to sort of replicate a live experience in a virtual world. So, we recognize that it can't be the same as it would be in live, but there are some wonderful uses of just technology that can help us to make those connections in a virtual world. So when we're looking at the convention this year, and when we look at it in live, we sort of have our four big buckets that we think about. So there's the networking aspect to the convention. There's the events and entertainment aspect to the convention. There's, of course, the exhibits, the trade show and the investors exchange. And then, of course, there's the extensive programming and content and professional development and education opportunities that we provide. So those are the four big buckets that were our main focus when we were looking to shift into virtual. And so these offerings will all be available in virtual PDAC 2021, and we're very excited about that.
Wow. Okay, that's great. And I know there's the virtual booths are coming out, which are a big part of what our membership participate with PDAC on a yearly basis. And there again, the networking and making those contacts with people, and of course in the technical programming that you have as well. What are some of the kind of the big trends that you're seeing for this year's event?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the exhibits maybe first, to your point. So, so this year we're offering two types of booth types in the virtual world. One is our basic booth, and one is the enhanced booth. And what's really pretty exciting about the enhanced booths, as well as the user experience throughout the platform, is the opportunity for video meetings, video meets, and connection, as opposed to just operating via chat. And one of the other really neat features about the virtual PDAC 2021 is the ability for folks to book meetings directly within the platform with exhibitors and with each other. Those meetings, the booking of meetings and video and connections, those take place both attendee to attendee and attendee to exhibitor. So there's lots of different ways for folks to make those connections. And for our exhibitors, It's probably important to note that February 12th is the deadline to purchase a booth for Virtual 2021. Unlike in live, we do have to have that cutoff date because that then offers those companies an opportunity to create their virtual booth and upload all of their collateral. So that's those activities will be taking place over the coming weeks.
February 12th is an important date. Okay.
Feb 12th is an important date. It's an important date for two reasons, actually. One is because that's the last date that we'll be selling booths. And it is also the early bird registration discount deadline for attendees. So the savings are pretty significant for that early bird deadline. So I would certainly encourage anyone who's interested in attending to make sure they get that in on time before the 12th and take advantage of that discount. And then from the attendee perspective, we open the platform up on March 1st for attendees to then start creating their profiles. So exhibitors had a couple of weeks lead time to get all their material up there. And then on the 1st, if you're an attendee, then you can go in and start building out your own profile. And, you know, the profile, obviously, you can upload your photo. You have your identifying information in there. You can list all of your social media contacts in your profile. But what's also really neat about what we're doing this year is that when you register, you'll be asked a series of questions. And those questions are designed to determine what it is that you are most likely to be interested in. And then it will populate, the platform will populate your profile with recommendations. So it will recommend exhibitors that you might be interested in. It will recommend sessions and content that you might be interested in. It will recommend people that you might be interested to meet, other like-minded folks that have perhaps answered questions in a similar way. So it's a really nice way to try and help people connect in the virtual world, which I know is one of the challenges that people are facing in virtual conventions. So we're really excited about these features within the platform that, quite frankly, I think might help some people connect even better in the virtual world than they have in live, because we know some of the feedback that we get in the live is, oh my gosh, it's so big. There's so many things happening. I don't know where to find anyone. So, you know, this is, it's a nice technological solution that can really help focus people in the direction that really meets their needs and their interests.
No, that's excellent. That's excellent to hear. And to your point, it's exciting to see this technology be able to kind of help us. And these are the pros and cons of going virtual. And so well done on your part and your team for doing that. So if I can now, let's go to a little bit about the trends. What are you seeing out there that's making this year exciting?
Sure. So, I mean, I think from a subject matter standpoint, PDAC has always been known for the high quality caliber technical content. So this year is no different, although, of course, people consume content differently in a virtual world than they do in person as well. So we've really taken a look at our programming. We've pared it down. Where we still are offering over 100 hours of content. There will be 5 concurrent sessions happening at any time, but we've broken those down into 1-hour chunks and blocks, and having breaks in between those sessions, so folks have time to sort of maybe step away from their computer or visit the exhibits or watch some of the entertainment that we're going to be that will be taking place in the platform. And then from a content standpoint, of course, we still have that really high quality, deep technical content within the technical program. And then there's the Indigenous programming, sustainability programming, capital markets program, student programming. And, I think if actually across all of the program areas that I just mentioned, there's probably two things that rise at the top of the list every time, and one is ESGs. And looking at that from various different perspectives, you're going to see a multiple talks within the convention on the ESG topic in various different streams, looking at it through different lenses. And of course, critical minerals, that's another sort of hot topic of the day. And then, of course, equity, diversity, and inclusion is something that's really important to PDAC. And so you'll see that reflected both in the programming content and the topics, but also in the speakers and the presenters. We're really pleased to say that across all of our program areas, over 40% of our speakers are females, which is something that's very
Excellent. Wow, that's impressive. So I would like to, I think there's a good time for us to kind of take a break from this. I really appreciate you taking the time, Lisa, to come in and share what PDAC 2021 is going to look like. It is, in my mind, the world's most important event in our space. I could be a little biased there, but it's global in nature, and really looking forward to being a part of that programming. So again, Lisa, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us.
Thanks for having me, Ryan. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I couldn't agree with you more. It is the world's best event in mining.
There you have it. You definitely don't want to miss being part of PDAC's world-class event. Some important economic news was reported by the big banks recently, and with us now to provide some insight on that news is Katherine Li from FIRMA Foreign Exchange. Hi, Katherine. Welcome back to the dig.
Hi, Ryan. It's good to be back.
So tell us a little bit about what was reported.
So the big five banks, they release these reports every monthly or quarterly, depending on which bank you're looking at. These reports gets emailed to a lot of their clients. And I was doing some analysis on the big five, and it seems that three banks agree relatively together as to where the US and Canadian dollar is going, whereas the other two stand a little bit aside as to how the US and Canadian dollar is reflected overall in the long trend. From the first quarter of 2021 to the last quarter of 2021, we're seeing a range of 123 all the way up to 134. This is quite a large room, as you can see, and it's really hard for anyone to really understand as to where are all these coming from. Of course, as of right now, the big five do utilize all their resources in putting these forecasts together, and keep in mind that they're all FX specialists that are producing these numbers. But it's just really interesting to see that these are all professionals in their role, and they have released such a wide difference. An example would be, RBC, CIBC, and Scotia are all on the higher end of US to Canadian, which goes up to 134, whereas BMO, TD, as low as 123. So how do you prepare in a situation like this? It can definitely get some questions going, and that's some of the most prominent questions that I get from my clients.
Right, and I guess with so much uncertainty, that's why we might have such a big divide, I guess, in terms of where people are thinking. So it's speaking with experts like yourselves too to give that kind of guidance.
Yeah, and it's interesting because in the report, they also include GDP figures and bond yields. It's interesting to see that the bond yields are surging quite quickly, which would actually usually entail a lower stock market movement, whereas right now you're seeing a very bullish market at the moment. So
Right.
professionals are seeing, this is not where we used to be or what we expected.
Right. And I believe StatsCan came out with the unemployment numbers.
Yes, they released that last Friday. And interesting thing is that Canada, we reported a very high employment rate at 9.4% unemployment rate. And this is the highest since September 2020. And keep in mind that this is including also part-time work and only for January. But these stats come out every month. Comparatively, our counterpart in the US, they reported about 6.3% unemployment rate. Of course, they're all open. And that is the lowest number since April 2020.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So, we'll hopefully see that number actually get smaller. Fingers crossed. And so what can we look forward to in the near future that might be moving the foreign exchange rates?
So something else happened on Friday, in addition to unemployment rates, is also the Senate's approval for President Biden's stimulus plan. And this vote was 51-50, very divided, as you can see. However, with this news, definitely over the weekend and what we see today as well in the markets, it's being reflected in overall future market, including oil prices. So the main stock index for Canada, TSX, has increased quite a bit in oil futures. So these are type of things that buyers, sellers, people who deal with multiple different currencies should definitely keep in mind about when doing their pricing, when trying to average out what the overall cost looks like.
Okay, well, excellent. Well, is there any other things coming down the pipeline that we need to keep an eye out?
So Chinese New Year's coming up, so a lot of payments are going to be delayed for 1 to 2 weeks. Keep that in mind with all of your packages. Shipments definitely going to be slower. One other thing that I've been hearing a lot about is transportation costs. Logistics companies and transportation overall has increased tenfold since the fall. And that's definitely going to be a struggle in the next couple of months, especially with higher oil prices.
Right. Well, thank you very much. That's very insightful, and we'll definitely look to have you on the show again to give us an update, see where things are from where we were today. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Have a nice day.
Thanks. Now let's take a look at the biggest stories affecting the mining industry today. We call it 6 and 60. Gold sector financings are at their highest since 2012, as investors show interest in backing companies focused on early-stage mining projects. S&P Global Market Intelligence reported the median market capitalization of global metals and mining companies increased by 95% year over year. Gold giant Newmont has launched the Newmont Global Center for Indigenous Community Relations in Vancouver. The goal is to promote awareness, education, and engagement. Cambrian College received $250,000 in funding from the Greater Sudbury Development Corporation in support of an industrial battery electric vehicle lab at the college. Calgary-based E3 Metals Corp is testing technology that could extract lithium, a key ingredient in EV batteries, from Alberta's depleted oil and gas reservoirs. And finally, Endeavour Mining Corp received all regulatory approvals needed to acquire Canadian gold miner Teranga Gold Corp. And that is our 6 and 60. And finally, an update on the tragic mining accident near Kelowna. The man who died in the mudslide at the New Afton mine has been identified as Ray Rosenberg. Ray was a devoted father of 4 children. A GoFundMe page has been created, and we've posted the link for you. Our deepest condolences go out to the Rosenberg family. That's it for this week's episode. I'd like to thank Lisa McDonald from PDAC, Stephanie Alvarez, and Katherine Li from FIRMA Foreign Exchange. Next week, I'll be speaking with Brendan Marshall from the Mining Association of Canada. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter @Mining Suppliers, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get instant access to the latest episode of The Dig. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'm Ryan McEachran. Take care. Stay safe.